Good morning, everyone. So, in the last session, we discussed about the important concept called length method and get bytes method and get chars method. Okay, so these are all the some method we identified. So, we'll try to identify the remaining methods today. So, observe carefully how we can convert with this particular important example. So, yesterday we discussed about the concatenation. Whenever we are trying to work with two data types here, what happens internally? So even though both the data types are different, we are trying to converting into string here. Okay. So when we are trying to converting this particular string, now what we identified here? Okay, what we identified here? So here we identified this particular example. Now you can see this is a string and this is I add a different data type called double, and finally I'm trying to end up with this particular string here. Okay. Now what you need to understand here, basically here what I'm doing here, one database something like so this I'm using the string data, and here I'm trying to use the another data type called double, and here I'm using one more data type called string. So here finally what we are doing, we are trying to use two data type string here appending with the string here, and here double we are adding, and finally again we are trying to use string. So totally two string data types and one double data type. So finally the end up result, whatever the final end up here, whenever I'm trying to use this particular concatenation, now it is internally converting into string here. Okay. So this is the internal conversion of this particular string. This is important, we need to understand here. Getting the point. Now finally what we are doing is, whatever the concatenation we are using, the end of the result we are trying to store into this particular S, and which is having the data type called string. So same example, if you observe carefully, now what we are going to understand here, I'm going to write another important example. I'm having, so I'm going to comment out this. So after this, now observe carefully here what I'm doing here I'm going to comment out how I'm trying to comment out here. So now same string s is equals to here I'm trying to make 4. Okay, here I'm trying to make this particular 4, and here what I'm doing here, I'm trying to come up with a 4 here. So how I'm trying to write here, something like a 2 plus 2. So this is very important, we need to understand here. Now observe carefully, what is the result you are expecting here? What is the output you are expecting in the S? If I'm trying to print this particular, S, what is the output you are expecting? Anyone idea? Because again here I'm trying to do the same concatenation. So here this is the integer number and this is the string here. Getting the point? Here we are having a integer numbers, and finally I'm end up with this particular strings here. So now you can see what is the result we are getting here. So finally the result I'm getting as a string, but what is the output you are expecting? So output something like you are expecting 4:4 or 4:, so 22. What is you are expecting here? So which one is the correct output here? Getting the point? So this is the correct output, or this is the correct output? Which one you are trying to think here? So can you please message me whenever, like anyone trying to think the output here? Okay, so not an issue. We'll try to identify this example. If I'm going to print this, now observe carefully, the output basically for 22 we are getting. Getting the point? For 22 we are getting it. So but this is wrong here. Getting the point? Basically what we are doing here, I'm trying to append with the string and integer data type here, but the result we are expecting this. Basically, we are expecting the result this. But now you can see the result we are getting as a 22. Why we are getting 22 here? Basically, this is not doing the addition here. Even though between this 2 plus 2, even though we are using this particular 2 plus 2, but internally it is not doing any addition here. So it is doing the concatenation. So concatenation is nothing but, here if you observe carefully, we are having 2 plus 2. So totally it will become 22, not this particular 4. This is not doing the addition operation. So just it is doing the between one value or between the another value. Something like just adding the two values here. It is adding the two values here. So this is not the expected behavior. So this is one drawback we are having whenever we are trying to concat this particular strings here. Okay. Whenever we are trying to concat this particular example. But how we can achieve this? How we can achieve this? This is important example we need to understand here. How we are going to achieve the particular value. I want to get something like 4 4:4 I want to get. Okay, 4:4 I want to get here. But observe carefully how I am trying to identify here. So if you observe carefully, this I am trying to print here. Now, if I want to find out this particular 4, here we need to use the bracket here. Now observe carefully, this is one of the important here. So which one we want to make addition? So the section we need to write inside this particular brackets here. Okay, this is important here. Whenever I'm adding like this, now if I'm trying to print this, now you can see we are getting 4. Okay, we are getting 4. But if I'm not adding this, what happening internally? It is adding the something like a concatenation. So just instead of doing the addition operation, it's just adding the one value after the another value. Okay, but what we are expecting, we are expecting to do some addition operation. The result we are expecting to get as a 4 here. But how we are getting it? Whenever we are trying to make inside this particular parenthesis. So okay, this is one of the important example we need to understand. So whenever you are want to do the operation, you can make inside this particular bracket. The bracket is going to take highest priority first. Later, the remaining operations will do. Okay. Later, the remaining operations do. First, it will do the addition operation. Later, it will do the concatenation. Getting the point. Later, it will do the concatenation. So because of that, we are getting 4:4. Okay. So this is one more the concatenation example we are discussing here, and we need to understand the value of method. Okay, how this particular value of method, the value of method basically it is we identified in the all the vapor classes like integer and double, some different vapor classes we are having the value of method. Now what it will do, it will try to convert the same value into appropriate data type here. Now if you observe string dot value of, so using this particular value of method, value of is a overloaded method. Now you can pass any data type. If you pass the boolean, if you pass char and char array, double, float, int, long, object, and so something it is expecting 3 values. Now whenever you are trying to pass these many values, what happening internally? What happening internally? It is trying to converting into string here. Okay, for example, if I want to convert the boolean value, now how I'm trying to convert it? Just I'm making this particular false value. Okay, just I'm making false value. Whenever I'm trying to make this particular false value, what happening internally? Now, if you print this, if you print this particular value of, what is the result we are going to get? The result will get as the same value, but the result will get as a string here, not the boolean type here. Now you can see the same string we are getting. Getting the pen. Now what I'm passing here, false is basically it is a boolean type. But what we are doing is we are trying to converting into string type. We are trying to converting into string, and if I'm going to call any method, so whatever the method yesterday we discussed here, something like length. Okay, If I'm going to call the length method, now it will try to return the characters 5. How many characters we are having in string? Those are all 5 characters. But now observe carefully, value of is a static method. Okay, this is important here. Value of method, it is a static method, because if you observe carefully how we are converting, for example here from basic converts, if you observe, here we define the char, here we define the character array, and we define the byte array. Now we are creating an object here. So using this particular new keyword, we are creating an object, and another way of creating. So this is the another way of creating this particular string literal concept. So this is the two way of creating this particular string object. And the third way, basically directly we can call the static method. What are the static method we are having? First one is a value of method we are having here. Okay, first one basically it is a value of method. Now if I'm going to write any other method we are having, so observe carefully. String dot. Whenever we are calling this particular string dot, now you can see copy value of is a one more method we are having. It is also static method, and format method. Okay, string format method will identify how this particular format and copy value and another method join. So these are all the 4 method we are having. Like first one is a copy value of, and format method, join method, and value of. Basically value of method is a overloaded method we discuss here. Now we'll see copy value of. Now what is it is expecting? It is expecting array type here. Okay, it is expecting array type. Now observe carefully how we can write this particular array type here. So this is, I'm copying. Here I'm going to print this, and here ch. Whenever I'm trying to print this, what happening internally? It will return the string object. Okay, whenever it is trying to return the string object, now directly I'm trying to print this. Directly I'm trying to print this example. So with help of this particular copy value of. Now what happens internally? This particular method also will return the same string here. Now observe carefully what we are doing here. So earlier here we created object here. Here we created object with help of this particular new keyword. Now using this particular new keyword, what we are doing here, we are trying to pass the same array to the particular character array reference. Now here what we are doing here, I'm not creating any object. So I'm calling the static method. Now if you see, this is basically new static method. But internally what we are doing here, we are trying to create a new string object. Okay, internally we are trying to create a new string object, and whatever data we are having, we are trying to pass here. So something like, so just is a one of the advanced step we are doing here. Instead of doing this particular step, because whenever you are calling this particular character array, internally we created the one string object, and we provided the same reference here, the character array reference we provided. But now instead of doing explicitly here, now what is the best way of doing it? We can call this particular character array. Internally string is doing the object creation all. So no need to do explicitly. So here the string, it is doing the object creation, and it is calling this. Okay, and another method what we need to understand here, the same, the string method here. Now what we need to understand here, so you need to understand this particular format and objects here. Now you can see here we are discussing the var concept. If I'm going to show you this particular method, now you can see it is that implementing var concept. So this particular var concept internal, like in the previous example we already discussed here. Okay, so how this particular string format it is going to work. Getting the point? So string format, how it is working internally, this is we need to understand here. Basically based on this particular locale, the formatted string is going to return here. Okay, we are having two methods here. First one is expecting string, and we can write the object to this particular var concept. Now internally what they are doing is they are creating this particular formatter they are creating this particular formatter object here, and they are calling the format method. And what they are doing internally, they are trying to pass this particular two parameters here. Okay, they are trying to pass this particular two parameters. So these are all the important example we need to understand here. So what we can do now, observe carefully. Observe carefully how I'm trying to convert this example. So this particular format related example, how we can write here. What is expecting this particular format? It is expecting string here. Okay, it is expecting this particular string. Now, so now what exactly we can write here? So here, so something like Java provides. So here, now what I will do, here I'm going to make some percentile s, and this particular concept. So here, what is the concept I'm going to write here? String s1 is equals to one more string I'm providing. And here I'm going to make as a s1. After providing this particular s1, now what I will do, here I'm going to print this, because the format internally, what is doing internally, it is trying to return the same string object. Okay, internally it is doing the same string object. Now if I'm going to run this, the last output now you can see, so Java provides string concepts. But where I provided this particular, just I give a percentile s here, get in the bed. So whenever I'm trying to give this particular percentage with s, what happening internally, whatever this particular argument we are having, get in bed, whatever this particular argument we are having, the particular arguments I'm trying to add into this particular s section. Okay, so this is the format we are going to use to print this particular the correct information. So now what I'm doing is just I provided one runtime value here, percentile s. Now what happens internally, based on this particular object arguments here, now it is replaced with the string here. Whatever the percentage s we added, it is now replaced with this particular string. Okay, this is the one of the important method. Now you can see when this particular method is added from the 1.5 onwards. Now if you see what it will do, this particular formatter class, now this is a constructor. Okay, this is the constructor, and now this is the one of the important formatter class. Now it is implementing. These are all the like interfaces. But now what we need to understand, now you can see these are all the formats basically. Now you can give, so whatever we provided right now, whatever we are providing right now, this values now it will store into this particular locations here. Okay, inside this particular respective location, all the values it will store. Now here also we can go for this particular values. Okay, here also we can go for the different formats here. Getting the point. So this is very important example we are discussing here. Now, if you read this particular class information, we can easily understand how this particular formatter class is going to work internally. Getting the point. So these are all the information we are having inside this particular class. So we need to understand this particular class, how it is going to work. Okay, we'll see. It's a simple example how we are implementing whatever the information we are going to provide. We'll try to implement like this. Okay, now observe carefully one more example I'm going to write here, and the another example is out here, string dot format, the same format method I'm trying to write here, and here what we can write here, something like a double value. Okay, so here I'm making double value. After this particular double value, here I'm going to make as a this particular percentile dot 8f. Whenever I'm trying to provide like this, now what we need to understand basically here, I'm going to provide 47 dot. Now I'm trying to providing only 5 values. Okay, here I'm trying to provide only 5 values. Now if you print the second example, how it is printing this. Now you can see after this particular dot. Okay, this is the another format we are using. After this particular dot, what we are doing is we are trying to providing up to 8 values here. So now if you read this, now you'll understand here. So 2, 4, 6 and 8 here. Getting the point. So this is the another format. Now observe carefully. After this particular dot, right now how many I given here? Basically 5 values I given. 45, 87 to 5 values I given. But whenever I'm using what I'm expecting dot 8f. Whenever I'm trying to write this particular format internally, what it will do, it will try to provide around 8 values. Okay, it will try to provide around 8 values. Now you can count this 2, 4, 6 and 8. Getting the point. These are all the 8 values you are providing. So this is the another format. Now if you are not interested, you can make only 2 values. Now if I am trying to print this 2, now you are getting only 2. Now we are getting only 2. So this is the another format we are going to use, this particular double related, and S we used for the whatever the object we are having. In place of this particular S, we appended with the S1, and the second one we are trying to come up with only after the dot how many values we want to use. Okay, so this is important, we need to understand here. Okay, so this is the one of the important example we are going to use for this particular format purpose here, and what we can understand here. Another important we need to understand here. So now observe carefully how I'm going to write this particular format here. Okay, how I'm going to write this particular format. So now we'll try to identify one more example. This is the another format I'm going to use. Okay, this is now what I'm doing here. Again, I will try to write the one message here, something like company info. Okay, company info. Now what I'm doing here, and here the same percentage I'm going to use, and after this, now what I'm doing here I'm trying to print this, and here I'm trying to print this particular. Whenever I'm trying to use this particular first here, it will try to use the first argument here. What is the first argument we are going to provide? So it will place in place of this particular 1. Okay, now what I'm trying to understand here, you can make as a first place I'm trying to make, and here, so simply we can make a second place here. Sorry, first percentage we need to use, and dollar. Okay, this is the second place. Now what I'm trying to write here, first I'm going to make as a instead of printing this, I'm trying to copy this. So it will return basically S2, and now what I will do, I'm going to give as a first as a S2, and later I'm going to give as a S1. Okay, now if you observe the second, like last format here, what happening internally, company info, just I'm added one string here. This is the string we added, and here, so here I'm trying to providing a first first parameter, and I'm expecting a second parameter. The first parameter basically it is a Java. Okay. The second parameter something like S1 I given, something like a string here. Okay. Here we need to provide the position also, like 192 we provide here. So which parameter we want to copy, we can write here. And this is we don't have any the position related information. Directly only one object we are having, we try to convert it into in place of this particular percentage S here. And here we identify the double related. So this is the way of using this particular format here. Okay. So any questions or regarding this particular format? This is whenever we are trying to converting format or if we want to provide the dynamic value in between of the particular string, we can use this particular format. If you observe carefully, in between we are using the string, and here also in between we are trying to use this particular string. Okay. So this is the way of using this particular format here. Okay. Any questions here?
Sir, can you please explain line number again? Line number 48.
40?
48.
48. Okay. So basically here I'm trying to give position here, first position and second position. Whenever we are providing this particular first position, so this is the positional parameters, because this format method internally it is expecting this is the where concept. So we discuss here how many parameters we want to pass, we can pass here. So they implemented as a 3 dots. Now whenever I'm adding, this will take internally something like a array format here, and inside this particular array, so this value is going to store as a first index location, and this is will store as a second here. And now what I'm doing here, I'm providing first position. So this will be the first position. S2 is the first position. So what we are containing in the inside S2, we are trying to copy the value from this particular CH. CH is contained internally Java. Now same thing, it is adding into this particular first position. So S1. This is the second purpose here. Okay. So this is the way of using this particular format here. Now the another important example I want to provide as a join method. So how this particular join method internally it is going to work. Now first we'll see how this particular join method is implemented internally. Okay. So if you say this, the cat sequencer and cat sequence element. So inside this particular cat sequence we can provide string related information. Now if you see this, here it is providing some information. So string message, if I'm going to copy this, now what happens internally? Now if you read this, now you can easily understand here. So can we pause here? No, there is no character related information. So basically this will take as a position. So for example, if I'm going to copy this, if I will paste it here, and in place of CH, now I'm going to make as a CH1. Okay, in place of the S1, if I'm going to make as a CH, now understand the last one, what happening internally. So Java provides, it is a array type here. So this is the object references, but it is not holding the values here. Whatever the value we are having inside this particular CH, it should be passed into this particular S here. But what happening internally, it is not passing here. It is not passing the value. It is passing the object references here. Getting the point? This is important we need to understand. So we are not expecting the object, but we are expecting the what are all the values we are having inside this particular object here. So is it clear? Okay. Now if you read this, the join method, what is doing internally, you can easily understand here what exactly the join method will do internally. whenever I'm trying to add this particular underscore, okay, whenever I'm trying to add this particular underscore, what happening internally? What happening internally? So each and every string internally, it is trying to append with this particular hyphen here. Okay, so this is the message going to return, because so this is the message is implemented inside this particular join method. Now if you go to this join method, you can read this. Okay, you can read this. What happening? We are calling the string.join method, and we are providing this particular hyphen, and we are having three object we passed here. So something like three string object we passed here, and internally what we are doing here, we are trying to add. So something like this is the output here. Okay, this is the output. Now this particular parameters, now it is going to convert it into this particular char sequence here, because again they implemented as a var concept. So they implemented as a var concept here. Now finally the output is going to convert it like based on this particular delimiter. So this we'll call it as a delimiter. Like whatever the symbol we are making, based on this particular symbol, it will try to inject in between all the strings here. Okay, all the strings here. Now we'll try to print this message. If I'm trying to print this, okay, the final message, if I'm trying to print, now we'll understand Java is cool. Okay, Java is cool. Getting the point. Now, how we are getting? Just we added this particular hyphen. It is appended in between this. So instead of this particular hyphen, now if I'm going to make something like a less than, now observe carefully how it is printing. So you can see Java less than is and less than cool. Okay, and you can make anything here. So not only this, if you are interested, you can make this particular percentage. Now if you run, now you can see Java percentage each percentage cool. Getting the point. Now what exactly it is doing? The join method, based on this particular the whatever the symbol like delimiter we are going to use, it will try to add into the each string between. So between the each string, it is going to add here. Okay. So this is the purpose of this particular join method. Now we identified copy value and value of method and format method. Finally, join method. These are all the static methods. Getting the point? These are all the static methods. So if you go to this, now if you read this particular join method, what it is doing basically, first it is checking two objects. So basically we cannot pass null values here. If you pass null value, it is going to throw an error. Now, finally, what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a one object here. So internally, this is the object I'm creating. Using this, after creating this, if it is trying to add this. Okay, based on this particular delimiter, they are trying to create a one string joiner object here. Okay, after adding this particular string joiner, they are repeating this particular loops here. Okay, they are trying to repeating this particular loops here. Now, if you see, it is a one of the string joiner class when it is implemented in the 1.8. This particular the string joiner class is implemented. We are having prefix and suffix and delimiter. So the delimiter it is going to add between, and now you can see all the elements we are going to store into this. Whenever we are calling this particular example, now this is the constructor is calling internally. Now you can see what is the constructor we are calling it. Now this is the constructor. So this constructor internally what is doing it is trying to appending with this particular information. Now you can see, so this is the delimiter, and right now we don't have a prefix and a suffix. These are all the empties here. Okay, these are all empties here. Now finally, again we are checking all the objects here. Again we are checking the objects here. If we are having null, so this is the message we are going to get. The prefix must not be null, and the delimiter must not be null, and the suffix is also must not be null. Now after this, what they are doing is they are trying to add into the particular variables here. Okay, so this is the constructor we need to understand here. The constructor we need to understand. After this, we are calling the add method. After this, we are calling the add method. Now, this is important. Now, internally, because of this particular string dot value of method, we are trying to converting this particular string. After converting this, we are checking if this particular ELTS basically, it is a reference variable of string array. Okay, if it is null, they are trying to create a new string with help of this particular 8 size. The size they are providing as a 8. And if the size is increased, automatically they will create here. They will try to create a new string. Okay, now if it is not matched this particular condition, we are moving into this particular else section. They are trying to copy. Okay, they are trying to copy the elements. Now you can see based on this particular copy of, they are increasing this particular string here. So this is the default string they are creating with a 8 size, and if the size is not matched, this is the way of increasing the string size here. And later they are trying to add with help of this particular length. Okay, they are trying to add this particular elements, like you can see delimiter dot length that they are creating. Finally, they are trying to store all the elements into this particular string array, and after this they are returning current object. They are returning current object here. Okay, so this is a way of adding this particular string joiner. String joiner is one of the class. It is introduced in the 1.8. Now you can see the string joiner class. It is used to construct the sequence of character. Okay, sequence of character with separated by the delimiter. Okay, so this is important here. Now, how we are making this particular example? Internally, we are doing the same thing. This is the sequence of the particular string we are creating. Okay, each string it is containing the sequence of characters here, and we are trying to make, like we are trying to, so differentiating with the help of this particular delimiter, like we are adding percentage. Like previously we connected with the less than, and previously we checked with a underscore hyphen. Okay, so this is the important example, the join method we are discussing here. Now, so we may use internally. In our real-time applications also we are going to use whenever we are trying to make the format like password related section, getting the point, username or email related section, we can make this particular join method. So there we can use this particular the join method we can convert. So whatever the string related example we are discussing here, this is very important concept, because in the real time also we are going to use in the more places. Okay, so try to practice this particular string classes multiple times. This particular class is going to have lot of methods here, so we cannot remember all the method at a time here. So if you need to practice very well, then only you can easily understand how this particular examples are going to work. Okay, so any questions regarding this particular static method what we are discussed here? Anyone having any questions? Okay, so if we don't have anything, now what I will do, I will move on to the object related method. So far we discussed about the static related method. Now we need to understand the static related method, how it is going to work. Observe carefully how we can write this particular static related method. Sorry, static we identified. Now we need to move on to the object related method. Now I am trying to comment out this. After comment out this, we'll try to identify. So caret method we identified, and get char also we identified in the last example. Now we'll move on to the to char array method. So how this particular to char array method it is going to convert. For example, where we implemented, I'm going to copy this
Madam,
here.
laptop for you.
So here I'm trying to use this particular char array. After this particular char array, now what I'm doing here, okay, now you can see. So what we can do, string s1 is equals to new string. We discuss this particular ch here. Okay, after defining this particular ch, now what I'm doing here, I'm trying to call s1 dot to char array. Now what is the option we are having? Again, I'm trying to converting into string format here. Sorry, character format. So basically, if you see, this is the character array we created. Now from this particular character array, I converted into this particular string object. From this particular string object, now what I'm doing is, again, I'm trying to converting into the same char array. So if you observe carefully, the return type, it should be char array. Let me make 1 second. Okay. So now observe carefully what I'm doing here. Here I'm trying to converting string array. Get in the pen. So this is basically what happened. Okay. Now observe carefully what we are doing here. We are trying to creating one character array. Now using this particular character array, now I'm converting into string. So again, once the object is converted into string, now what I'm doing is this particular string, again I'm trying to converting into this particular char array. Again, I'm trying to converting into this particular char array. Okay, so this is the important example we need to understand here. And what I'm doing is here I'm going to write the loop here. How I'm trying to write this particular loop here? Something like a char array and colon. Here I'm going to make as a this particular method. This particular method I'm calling here, and after calling this particular method, we'll print this particular each and every character. Okay, so this is a way of printing this particular each and every character. Now you can see all the characters are printing. All the characters are printing here. So with help of some spaces, I'm trying to print. I'm using the print method. The print method, it is trying to print on the current line, but each character it is printing. But now what you understand here? So from this particular character to, we can convert into string. Again, string to, again we are trying to converting character. With help of this particular to character method, internally, it will try to convert all the string object into this particular character. Okay, this is also one of the important method. But if I want to call this particular method, we need a object here because it is not a static method. Now you can see it is not a static method. So we need object of this particular string object if I want to call this particular to char array method. Now, so here we are checking this particular ternary operator. Okay, so this is the ternary operator we are implementing here. Now you can see we are having the question mark and we implemented the colon. So this particular ternary operator also we discussed in the earlier example. Getting the point. If I want to open anything, we can easily understand how this particular each and every concept is implemented here. Okay, each and every concept is implemented because the basic concept we already discussed in the last example here. Getting the point. By seeing the any class, any predefined class, these are all the predefined classes. Any predefined classes, we can easily understand what exactly the constructor or the class or the method it is doing internally. Okay, if I want to understand this, we need to practice very well. Then only the each and every concept we can easily remember here. Okay, so this is the important concept we are discussing, something like a two char array. And finally, what I'm doing here, I'm trying to print this particular another important section equals and equals ignore case. This is the another important method we are having equals and equal ignore case. For example, how we can use this particular equals method. If I'm going to use and here let me write some of the strings here. So I'm going to write s1 is equals to Okay, here we are having already S1, S2 I'm making here, and S3 I'm making, and S3 also I'm making same hello. S4, what we need to understand here. So simply another string I'm making, and S5, here I'm making hello. This particular hello, now it is in the capital letters. Now if you observe carefully, I'm having around 4 objects I created with help of this particular literal concept here. Now S1 and S2 are same, and S3, sorry, S2, S3 same, and S4 and S3 we are having some different value. But here, now what I'm doing here, I'm trying to print this particular values using this particular equal and equal ignore case. Basically, these two methods, it will return the Boolean values. These two methods, it will try to return the Boolean values. So for example, S2, here I'm going to print, and S2, so equals, and S3. Okay, here I'm making S2 plus and S3. Internally, we are using the equals method here. And here, what I'm doing here, S2 dot equals of this particular S3. Okay. Now, what I'm doing here, S2, S3 we are doing here. And after this, so I will move on to the S3. And here I'm going to make as a S4. And S3, here I'm going to make as a S4. And after this, here, what I will do, here I'm going to make as a S4. Here I'm making S5. Okay, this is the equals method. Now we'll see which method it is going to return true. We'll identify which method it is returning to. So the first one, it is returning true. Get in the bed. The first one, it is returning true, and the remaining cases, it is trying to return false. Why the remaining cases, it is trying to return false? So observe carefully. S2, S2 we are having hello. Okay, and S3, S3 also we are having hello. So because of this, we are calling S2 dot equals S3. Okay, S2 dot S3 we are calling here. Because of this, it is returning true. And S3, S3 we are having hello, and S4 we are having goodbye. So these two strings are not equal. Getting the pen? These two strings are not same. Because of this, we are getting false. And S4, S4 we are having some different value, and S5 we are having some different value. Because of this, it is failing. And one more I want to write here. One more I want to write here. Something like S2, S2 with S5. Okay, S2 with S5. S2 we are having hello, and S5 also we are having hello. But here, all the characters we are having uppercase, and here the first character we are having uppercase, remaining are in the lowercase. Now, if you observe carefully, if you observe what happening internally, it is trying to print this particular hello equals hello. Again, we are getting as a false. Whatever this particular two hello we are making, these two also it is trying to return false. Okay, so this is important here. Now finally, I am going to use the equal ignore case. So here I am going to use the same with help of this particular equal ignore case here. Okay, here I'm making this particular equal ignore case. We'll see how this particular example it is going to work. Now if I'm trying to print the same example, now you can see both objects are same, hello, hello. So this is returning false. But here we did the same, hello and hello. Now I'm getting as a true. Now I'm getting as a true. Getting the point? What happening internally? Here it is trying to checking the object is same or not. It is not checking the objects are in the lower case or in the upper case. Okay. Any case, getting the point? Any case it is ignore here. Even If you provide all the are in the lowercase, all are in the uppercase, this equal ignore case method, what happening internally, it is not checking the case of the values. What are all the values currently it is having the case. So just it is going to check the both the objects are same or not. Like both the objects are having same the characters or not. So this is the important. Here we can ignore the case information, uppercase or lowercase. But this equals method, it is going to check each and every character is in the uppercase or in the lowercase. Both the objects are same or not, it is going to check. Okay, so this is the one of the important here. Now you can see what happening internally. So this is trying to check with the current object, and if these two objects are same, it will try to return true. Otherwise, what happening internally, it is trying to check not equals to null, and they are trying to check the length here. They are trying to check the length. And internally, we'll call this particular reason matches here. We'll discuss about this particular method. Right now, we could not understand what exactly it will do, but here they are trying to providing something like values here. But observe carefully, they are using AND operator. Here they are using AND operator here. So once this particular section, the current object equals to with another string, what happening internally? Simply they are trying to returning true. If these two objects are not equals to same, they are trying to move on to the else section. This is the, again they are using the ternary operator here. So the ternary they are providing and colon, getting the point. So now observe carefully how they are implementing the ternary example here. Okay, how they are implementing this particular ternary operators internally. This is one of the important example we need to understand here. Getting the point. So this is basically, now we'll see here. I'm going to put a breakpoint here. Now we'll identify which operator it is calling internally. Okay. So here again I'm trying to run the same example so that we can easily understand how this particular equal ignore case method it is calling. What is the another thing we are passing here? So file. Okay, something it is calling from the different location. Here I'm going to put a breakpoint. Basically, these particular examples are going to call from the multiple location. So now this is our current example we are calling here. Now I'm going to make a breakpoint one more time. I'm trying to call this. Now you can see what is another thing we are passing here. What is the particular another thing we are passing? Hello, but all the characters now in the uppercase. And what is the current object we are having this? So this is the first object S2. Getting the point? Whatever the first object we are passing S2. Okay. So this first character only is in the uppercase, remaining are in the lowercase. Now we'll see whether this particular expression is satisfying or not. If I'm going to identify this, now what happening internally? We'll make inside this. Watch here. We'll see anything we can identify. Okay, we are getting error also here. So during this, okay, maybe we cannot use this operation. So it is giving me an error. I am trying to remove this all the expressions here. Okay, so we'll see. So these two are, we cannot identify right now here whether these two objects are same or not. Now what I will do, I'm trying to check this. Now you can see what you understand here. These two objects, whatever the two objects we are having, these two are not equal. These two are the not equal. Okay, now we identified this. Now what happening internally? It is trying to move on this particular else section. It is trying to move on this particular else section. So what exactly the reason matches method is it is doing internally? If I'm going to provide this particular method, so first it is expecting the boolean value, ignore case here. Second one, from where we want to copy this, offset another thing and offset and integer length here. Okay, so what exactly it is doing is, if I'm going to provide this particular method, now you can see they are doing different operations inside this particular reason matches method. Okay, this is one of the important. If you are understanding this, what happening internally, you can easily understand this particular reason matches, the purpose of this particular reason matches. So we'll see this particular method later, but observe it is trying to do some conditional operations here. Offset is doing the less than 0, or off they are doing the some byte value, they are doing the coder. Okay, and finally they are doing this particular Latin. If it is the Latin, they are doing the different format. Otherwise, so they are trying to work on the UTF format. Okay, so this is the internal purpose, like implementation of this particular reason matches method. But what we need to understand here, what is the length we are getting? Okay, so anything I could not getting this. What we can do, I'm trying to write this. So here we don't have an option to check this. Okay, basically I'm trying to provide the each and every expression here, but we are not able to provide this particular expression internally. So it is not giving me the option to evaluate here. Okay, so this evaluation is not working internally. Let me try one more time. No. Okay, so this evaluation is not working. Because of that, we could not understand what happening internally. So if it gives the option to so debug the code what happening internally, we can easily understand what exactly the equals ignore case method it is trying to work. Okay, so right now we could not understand. Just we can see the whatever the code we implemented here, but what exactly the values we are getting, we cannot understand inside this particular method. Now I'm going back to this particular method. Now you can see, so it is trying to return this particular value here. So finally we are getting the true. Okay, so we don't have an option to debug the particular equal ignore case line by line what happening internally. Okay, just we identify what is the code it is implemented inside this particular equal ignore case. If I'm trying to open the equals method, so now you can see what they are doing. This is the equals method. We are passing the another object. So if the object is equals to another object, we are trying to return true. Otherwise, they are checking the instance of keyword. This keyword we already discussed here. Whatever the object we are passing, if the type is matched with this particular string, this expression will return as a true. Okay, whenever we are discussing the annotation concept, we use the instance of keyword. What is doing internally? It will, whatever the object we are passing, if the object contain the string related information. Okay, if this particular object contain the string related information, now this particular condition will return true. So once it is returned true, we are converting into string. Okay, this line we are trying to converting into string. In the real time also we are going to do the same thing. We'll try to check with a specific object type, and we'll try to converting into the like a specific object. It is something like a type conversion. Okay, it is something like a type conversion. From basically this is an object type, and from the object type I'm trying to converting into string. Okay, and after this I'm calling the coder method, and I'm checking again if it is this particular Latin, we are calling this particular equals method. Otherwise we are going to call UTF here. Okay, basically this is the some format the string it is going to use internally to convert the all the object. But equals method we can understand what happening internally. But equal ignore case it is having some different informations here. Okay, so this is all about the equal sign to equals ignore case, and we'll try to cover up with the remaining method whatever we are having in tomorrow session. Okay, any questions or recording of today's session so far what we discuss here? Okay, so if we don't have anything, now I'm going to stop the session here. We'll continue tomorrow.